Hey y'all, Bitter Bros Golf Show back at it again. I am Rod.
And I'm Marcus.
Right off the top. Hey Andy,
Shout out that boy
happy
Andy.
birth, happy 50th birthday, my man. I didn't see you throw your Cash App or anything in the chat. Maybe someone will be willing to bless you on the playback or whatever. It'll be living in perpetuity forever. So, happy birthday to you, man. The big 5-0. That's a pretty significant one. Hopefully, you were able to celebrate it in some way or have a plan to celebrate it. So, always fun to hit those milestones. It says you're doing something right to get to 50. A lot of folks don't make it there. So,
Yes, sir.
congratulations, my man. Man, it's a weird week in golf, man. I feel like every tour on earth played this week. It was
Yeah.
a lot. I mean, even like small, Corn Ferry, Latino, PGA, it was everything, everywhere. Um, some struggle golf was happening over on the DP World Tour. Um, I guess, when we were watching golf, I had never really seen congressional on TV. So it took a while for my eyes to warm up to the layout of the course for the Senior PGA Championship. But eventually, when I kind of started watching them later, I definitely caught a liking to it. So let's start there. Let's start with the Senior PGA Championship. Angel Cabrera, El Pato, the Duck, ends up winning his second major in 2 weeks because the PGA Tour senior crowd doesn't know how to schedule tournaments. Because we saw that they went head up with the regular PGA Tour PGA Championship last week with their regions traditions, new major, you know, for me at least. But he wins 2 weeks consecutively. His third win this year since returning to the game last year after spending a significant amount of time in prison in Argentina and Brazil due to some issues harassing his ex girlfriend, stalking. Um, Definitely has come out, trying to get attrition, saying that he was in the wrong, not making any bones about it, trying to get back on track, threw away some years of his life. But a winner. And I looked up his, profile on Wikipedia. This man has 57 wins worldwide. World
Yeah.
traveler, plays everywhere. How much of the senior tour did you get to take in this week?
I mean, it was so bogus that they had back to back majors. I didn't really watch much of it. I watched like
Okay.
the beginning of it. I think I was off Thursday, so I had a chance to be at the house and kind of watch it. Yeah, congressional went through a bunch of changes recently. I mean,
Yeah.
when Tiger was playing it and it was sponsored by Tiger. That was his host event or whatever. And like, 2012, 2013 and stuff like that. It was more like a a traditional woodlands course for America. So they cleared a bunch of trees, changed a bunch of the holes and stuff like that, made it wide open. So yeah, it was definitely playing completely different than what they had saw or what they had even come back from. So a lot of those guys, it was a brand new course for them, just like it was for us. But I mean, it looked good from what I saw. I mean, it definitely was a change to not have a lot of trees on what you would call like an esteemed course. A lot of public figures play golf out there, it being in the Maryland area, the Bethesda area, and
Yeah.
stuff like that. So, um, yeah, I mean, it presented good on TV. And, Cabrera really, I guess you could say he went out and won it, but I felt like Patrick really lost it. I mean, Patrick was,
No, I think he played well enough to win it. Patrick, he shot around. I mean, he was four under on the final day. Um, I mean, there was one late stumble by Patrick. I wouldn't
yeah.
call that necessarily choking. It ended up being a two-stroke victory. Um, so yeah, I mean, he
Patrick
played
had
well
got to
enough. He
10,
didn't.
though.
This is true. I mean, but you still got to play the full round, which we'll talk about that a little bit on the DP World Tour. Since I woke up, I saw you were checking in at work around the time that the DP World Tour finished up this morning, but that one was an interesting one. But I felt like Cabrera ended up playing well enough. Shot under par, which again with this weekend, there were some scratchy wins out there this
Yeah.
particular weekend. So I'll give him credit. I mean, winning back to back weeks is not easy on any tour, on any circumstance where you have to get your game together well enough to shoot the lowest score over a 72 hole sampling, right? So it's hard to golf is so hard, especially when you're not playing in the same group as the guy. To go head up or say it's
Yeah.
match play style. He's Harrington finished ahead of him, so look good, man. I always have said that. I remember before we started really playing golf, I would still watch golf. So back in 2009, when Cabrera won at the Masters, I remember watching that. I remember, really kind of looking at the swing. Always been a bit of a husky guy, and at the time, I was definitely carrying around a few extra pounds. But again, this is a few years before I started even playing golf. But I saw his swing and I was like, that's a very powerful, natural looking swing, of the club. And he still got that ability at 55 years old. Still looks great. Can hit the shots, can move it both ways. Still looks very powerful. Um, Ping player, even though I don't think they outwardly sponsor him anymore, he's still playing Ping clubs. But yeah, I mean, it's just refreshing to see him bounce back, get his life together seemingly, and go win some tournaments. Who knows, how high the limits can be. We've seen a few guys pop out on the senior tour, get hot, win early on after joining. Seems like they have a renewed energy. We saw that when Phil joined, that he was actually on a tear before departing and going over to live. We've seen Stewart Sink. We've seen Stricker do the same thing. A lot of guys have come in, really exploded on the PGA Tour Senior and look good. So we'll see how long this run can keep going for On Hill.
Yeah.
So that's it. Let's move over to the DP World Tour. Um, Let me look at my notes because I don't know this man's name. Kristoffer Reitan. I'm gonna butcher that. Reitan. Won in a three-man playoff after having a scorching 9 under round today in the final round, or this morning, I should say. Um,
Yesterday.
Lost to, yeah, yesterday. It's Monday. The holidays got me totally messed up. Speaking of, hope you had a good Veterans Day and celebrate anybody in your family that we've lost to battle.
Memorial.
Memorial. Good God. Sorry. It's a bad holiday. Thank you, sir, for keeping me. Thank you, sir, for keeping me. I said Veterans Day. Good God. Memorial Day. Ewen Ferguson had a chance, man, all day. The
Yeah.
guy just had to go in one under and would have won this tournament. And finally, like after several pars, the man finally gets like a birdie out of a bunker after hitting an incredible bunker shot, goes down 18, and I would say that was a giveaway. He gave away the tournament on 18, dropped the shot, ends up in the three-man playoff. They go too deep, and Kristoffer ends up hitting the birdie putt, winning the tournament. So tough win and tough loss, I would say, for Ferguson. We've seen him over on the DP World Tour actually performing pretty well this year, um, but not able to close it out on the final day. And it just,
Yeah.
you could tell he wasn't playing his best golf. Like I said, I got to watch pretty much the entire final round because of where they played it, and him winning this, that tournament. It was just tough and really uncomfortable to watch. So I don't know. Like I said, I saw you checking in at work around the end of the tournament. How much of that did you get to watch?
I saw that Reitan had posted the 62 or whatever and got to 13. And I saw pretty much I came on and started watching it probably right around Ewen Ferguson was probably on like 14 or 15 or something like that. I watched the shot. I watched the bunker shot. The bunker shot was
Mm-hmm.
literally ridiculous when I watched it. I mean,
Right.
that was like a 40-yard bunker shot from the front of the green plus some. I mean, flew it the whole way, one hop stop, zipped it back. I mean, you would think a shot like that would propel you on if you
Yeah.
just like you hit the shot to go up one just to give it back on 18. I actually didn't see what happened on 18. We had got through a little rush or whatnot, but I saw that they had got it all. I saw that it was all 13s, and then I saw them go to the playoff, and it was raining a bit. And then I think that's I don't know. Maybe I turned it
Where you
on
kind of
Formula
got,
One or something like that. And we got bogged
yeah.
down. It was a mix of both. I can, but yeah,
But the crazy thing was that the course was scoreable, and when you look at
right,
everybody else on the leaderboard, they were shooting scores. It had
yeah,
rained on Saturday, it sprinkled on Sunday off and on, so it was a pretty soft course. So
yeah. They
people
had
were able to
opportunity.
keep it, yeah, keep it in the fairway, hit some greens, but he just could not really hit an iron close to the hole to save his life
Yeah,
until that bunker shot. And like you said, I thought he at that point I was like, okay, he's got the momentum. Go down and par 18.
yeah,
And I looked away for a second because I thought it was a pretty much foregone conclusion. But I looked up and I think he was taking relief from a grandstand. So
mm,
hit a wayward shot going into 18. I don't know, man. I feel like it's a tough driving hole. Pull out the 3 wood or something. I don't know, man. That's a tough
yeah,
way to lose it. You could tell he was dejected. And I always, it's hard to see that person that gave away that final, shot, winning and prevailing and regathering their momentum and thoughts going
yeah,
into the playoff. So tough way to lose it. He'll bounce back. So shout out to Reitan for getting his first professional or first DP World Tour win. We always wish the best for folks going forward. That they are able to continue the momentum. Maybe he'll be able to do so going forward.
yeah,
Um, let's swing on over to the PGA Tour again. Another struggle Sunday. It was a tough watch. Between Ben Griffin, who we saw, win a few weeks ago at the Zurich Classic with teammate Andrew Novak in the that team event, and we debated on whether team events should even count as a victory in your career win total. They were doing they were doing a lot of heavy lifting to say, oh yeah, he's a PGA Tour winner. He's a PGA Tour winner. Now that you've won on tour, again, you got a little bit of help from a teammate. I don't think that's all on your back, and you can't really
yeah,
claim that. Um, Sunday was a struggle. So it was windy. Don't get me wrong. It was super windy in DPW over the weekend, but they were both him and Smith were spraying the ball all over the place. Hard to hit fairways, um, scrambling up and downs. I think after a hot start, I think the first couple of holes, Griffin got some birdies and then went +4 the rest of the round. Um, he just hung on there. He just lucky that there was no one else really close enough. I think
yeah,
had Scotty gone into Sunday a little bit closer, it might have gotten a little tight. I think Griffin ended up shooting +1 and getting the win. What'd you think of that one? Now that he's officially a tour winner.
yeah, man. It was absolutely a difficult watch. I felt like I had to check my perspective on it because I felt like it's not like they were, one person lost the tournament or won the tournament. In this case in particular, I felt
Hmm.
like both players who hadn't won on their own, volition, uh, mainly speaking about Ben Griffin, are really just trying to figure out the steps to win on their own. And sometimes they were pressing. The pressure was kicking in, and I felt like they were. I don't know. Were they forcing shots, or they just couldn't manufacture the shot needed at the time? I couldn't really tell, but it
Yeah.
it just felt like they were trying their best not to lose the tournament. It
Right.
was
No, pretty much.
it
Yeah.
was a struggle to watch. I mean, like none of the putts seemed good. Like none of the putts seemed like confident or like they were like anywhere near going in. If I'm being honest, yeah, like you said, that front nine, I felt like they were a little bit more relaxed and playing, and then like the brevity of the moment finally hit them on that back nine, and it was like, okay, like
Yeah.
we gotta actually win this thing. Like, hold on, and you saw what happened.
Right. And Smith can actually he can score. I mean, he's getting
Right.
birdies,
I
but
mean, he has a nice little swing. They did a swing
he,
comparison. I mean, bro, Ben Griffin's swing is so homemade, and Matthias is so like refined, and like I was at the academy. Like these guys were like putting me in the positions from a young age. Ben Griffin was like, "Yo, get a grip on there and good luck. You just go out there and you find a way to score it,
he
and
slings it.
we'll go
Yeah.
from there." Yeah,
Yeah,
I don't know.
that left foot for Ben Griffin goes flying. Um,
Look at the
I
face
mean,
on. He's like barely to like here. Like the club does not get back here. There's no
right.
parallel. There's no pass parallel. It's not even really to like 3/4. It's like here, and then he just moves with so much speed that he creates enough tour distance when hitting it out the middle. I mean, but yeah, I mean, it just goes back to what we were talking about, or what we talk about, what it seems like every other week. These guys on the men's tour, they just figure out a way to win, and with any kind of swing possible. The ladies are way more technical, way more,
Yeah.
uniform in how they swing the golf club. Very little variation from the women's game, unless you're like, taller or shorter, and you have to, work around what you got. But
Which which I have a video queued up for that when we go to LPGA. Small shout out to us. Go check out the What's in the Bag that we did for Ben Griffin. I am gonna just because the ball came up again. Uh, Go check out our What's in the Bag. Ben Griffin, Andrew Novak. It's a dual one. Both playing ping clubs. Maxfli Tour gets, as it relates to Ben Griffin, now gets its second win on tour. That's also kind of the theme of the show, the return of Angel Cabrera, and now Maxfli getting a little bit of pub on the
yeah,
big tour. I'm gonna do a little bit of Inception. I'm gonna play the short clip of us talking about, or at least me talking about the ball from our What's in the Bag. So, quick little Inception here. TS. I love the Odyssey. Really sharp, fang putter. I know you like that as well.
yeah.
It's their putters. It is what it is. The ball. So, Maxfli Tour X. So I have been playing the Maxfli Tour version of balls for the last 2 years, based on a recommendation from my golf spy. They were raving about this ball. It tested well. This particular year, this looks like a slightly different version. The lineup line is different on this one. He's probably got the most recent version and or a custom version from Maxfli.
Yeah.
And then Novak playing the Srixon Z Star Diamond, which the Z Star underrated ball as well.
Very good ball.
Got a chance to put this in play. Got like a 3-pack, gifted a 3-pack, probably about a month ago. So I put those through the paces. I really enjoyed the Z Star. It's a 3-piece ball. Really minimal. Like I'm a high spin player, so I feel like it was a low spin ball, really good off the driver, really enjoyable. So both quality balls. If you're sleeping on the Maxfli Tour range of balls, best deal out there. You catch these in the season, you can get a
40 bucks
48 pack of
for a
balls.
box.
48, yeah, and a 48 pack, you can get them for like 109 late in the season. So tested really well Again, on the robots, durable cover. I'd say it's a slight step below your really high level balls. I would say there's some compromises, but it's gonna perform just a tick below your top level TP5, Pro V1s, Chrome. It's up there, but
Yeah.
you're also paying a little bit less for it. So interesting mix, and I think this next slide tells the story. Yes. So Maxfli is currently a Dick's Sporting Goods slash Golf Galaxy exclusive. They're the only one that carries this. You can get it off of their website. It says so. This is from Jack Hirsch on Twitter or X. Not only did Ben Griffin just win with the Maxfli golf ball for the first time in ages, no doubt, but word from Maxfli is that he and Andrew Novak decided to play Ben's Maxfli Tour X completely in foursomes, which is dope, right? To
Super.
me, that's always the hardest part of playing foursomes if you were alternating balls, because like let's just say you and I, if we were going back and forth and all right, I'm gonna kill it here. So yeah, a little bit of inception with us talking golf ball back a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah.
So shout out to Max Fly for getting a tour winner. Lexi Thompson also playing this over on the LPGA, even though she's not playing a full time schedule. She is, still playing all the majors and bigger events. So we'll see if they continue success or if a few other players find their way into the Max Fly stable before the end of the year and get some other wins. So shout out to Max Fly. I was an early adopter, so we don't always get to claim that. So anyway,
It's called a ride and innovator.
whatever. I don't know about that. Just somebody who saw some good data and thought I'd give it a try, and it actually performed pretty well. You shot me this earlier, and I think it's starting to pop up, more on the feeds. But Will Zalatoris, PGA Tour, ended up undergoing a back surgery to repair two herniated discs. He seems like he will be back at the end of the year in the fall season, but of course we'll miss the last two majors of the year, the playoffs, etc. That's unfortunate. Will, came up a little bit younger than, Scotty, Jordan Spieth, but was in that junior class, especially in this DFW area of, kind of the young guns, guys that are prodigies. Um, going back, I want to say it was the U.S. Open a few years ago, where the back concerns first started, you know, surfacing, and then had to go into a surgery. Just wasn't able to get himself right. Made some slight swing changes. I think we saw him come back at the Hero at the end of the year at Tiger's tournament in the Bahamas, and then shut it down again. But here we are again dealing with the back issues. It's very concerning for a young guy that now he's on surgery number two
Yeah.
going forward. And, as we kind of messaged, I said, I just wish that instead of just letting the kids swing their swing, that there would be some adjustments, especially when you see them doing things from a posture standpoint that could affect them later on down the line. And it just seems like we're wasting years of Will Zalatoris' potential based on injuries. So, just feel bad for him and, wish that someone would have stepped in a little bit earlier. But you mentioned a change that he's probably going to have to make if you want to elaborate on that.
Yeah, I mean, I just think that with the athleticism involved in the game now, and at the speed that these guys are swinging, your back elasticity isn't going to last forever. I mean, shoot, Tiger's back broke down in 2012, 2013. He made it a long ways before his did, but it happens to everybody. Um, Nobody is Rory. Nobody's going to have just a picture perfect swing to where it's not really affecting how he swings. But when you're a guy like Will, you're going to have to make some swing changes. You're going to have to protect the back. You're going to have to swing a little bit more upright, maybe take it down a few notches as far as the RPMs go. Yeah, it's just like what you said. It's very unfortunate that something like that would happen to a guy this young. that you would be battling injuries that are so significant to your complete golf swing. It's not like it's a hand or something like that where, Scotty will be out for a couple of weeks and then he'll bounce back or something like that, or a wrist where, you can get some plates or some screws or something to fortify it and, go about your day like that. This is a back, bro. This is something you're going to have to deal with regardless. You're going to be standing up. You're going to be walking. Your caddy isn't always going to be with you. You're going to be carrying your bag, So this is going to be a arduous task to get back to, full health for my mans. But hopefully hopefully this surgery, kind of helps him out with that. And, he can get back on the horse and show us the talent that he's been showing us so far. I mean, he was on the doorstep in 2022,
22 or 23, 22,
maybe 22,
where he was like top 5 in like
majors.
3 majors. Yeah,
and then won the playoff or whatever. Won the
like an
was that
event
in
in the
Memphis?
FedEx.
Yeah, I think that was the Memphis one or whatever in Tennessee. So we've all seen it with Zalatoris. We all know he's got it. Speedy recovery from my man's, and hopefully, he comes back with a better swing, a little bit more, in control of himself. So, yeah.
Hopefully, he's able to recover and start making the changes to the swing, and we'll see how those fare.
Yeah.
On the LPGA, we saw twin Chisato Iwai. Her sister is also a baller, has had a couple of runner-up finishes this year. I think her sister's a little bit longer off the tee than her. But nonetheless, both of them can get it done. And Chisato dominated. Final day, has like 5 birdies at the start of her round in the first 6 holes. Pretty much puts the field in the rearview mirror. Ends up winning by 6 to get her first LPGA victory. She's a rookie along with her sister. Again, just flat out ballers from Japan. I thought an interesting quote that the LPGA featured. You can tell she's working hard to learn English, but she said, "My mental is so calm." And then I think some filler there, and then she says, "Calm every day, every time." So I just thought that was, to have the confidence as a rookie to, to speak to the mental aspect of the game and, be in a state of zen. Seemed really, I don't know, like I said, just looked cool. All the pictures with the sombrero, what is that trophy? I can't remember what reptile that is on the iguana, the colorful iguana that we all used to see when the PGA Tour guys would play there. I always remember Vic Hovland hanging that one up a couple times. So fun event for them to play on a course that we've seen the men play on several times. Liv even jumped over there last year. So a noted site at Mayakoba. It was a really fun event. But either way, it was kind of not necessarily a big leaderboard field, kind of an off week before the U.S. Open. Before the ladies head to Erin Hills, which they're putting out a ton of content. I went over to the LPGA Instagram page before we hopped on today. They're dropping so much U.S. Open content. It's ridiculous. It's going to be a good follow this week. I mean, they're posting pretty much every 20 to 30 minutes at this stage. So heavy on the content. One other just like interesting clip that I saw, runner-up Jenny Bay, who is also a rookie, graduated from the Epson Tour, but was just her swing. And you mentioned this earlier when we were talking about the lady swings versus, kind of the differences that typically, I wouldn't say typically, but LPGA, we're seeing a lot of, what's the word? Fundamental swings, not a lot of variation.
Aesthetically
But here
pleasing.
Correct. So I have Jenny Bay, again, runner-up this past weekend, her swing, and you're going to see an interesting move for her to get a little bit of distance, both from an upper body perspective and from a lower body. So I'm going to play this a couple times. So really long up top and also coming off the ground, both feet at the same time. Play that again. Pass parallel and elevating. I just thought that was an interesting move. You can tell she's definitely not the tallest player out there, but trying to compete. I mean, in a world where even the women are getting longer. I mean, we have a few that can bop it out there 300. Like I mentioned earlier, seeing the other EY twin earlier in the year when they were on the Asian swing. I mean, she was busting it out there 300 easily.
Yeah.
So even the ladies are having to compete in the speed and distance game. So just like I said, interesting swing component. We will definitely hear from Jenny Bay again. But just found that interesting. What are your thoughts on that swing?
I'm trying to find the name actually. There's a woman on that's Japanese as well that already jumps up when she swings, and she's usually near the top of the leaderboard. That's why I don't know why I can't find where. Um,
Hmm.
but yeah, I mean, I guess she feels like she needs to create some type of power. I mean, I don't know. I felt like you can't really hate on it because as long as her timing is good and
Yeah.
she comes back and the ball is hit out of the middle of the face, you can't hate on it. I mean, she's made her way through the ranks to get up to the professional level, so she's doing something right. But it's weird. It's
Yeah.
definitely very
Yeah.
homemade.
Yeah. I was gonna
But
say the same in terms of what you just said, that getting back to school, like I can see her having weeks where she just loses
the
it and
timing
misses a
is
bunch
off.
of
Yeah.
cuts.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Especially at the
It's
top
not
when you're
good.
going past parallel.
Facts. I gotta find
Let's
that.
see here. So, the ladies playing at Erin Hills this week, the U.S. Open. Like I said, they're hyping this up. It's one of these fields or sites that we have seen on in the men's game. Um, so it's fun to see the ladies teeing it up, heavy rough. It's probably going to play a little bit longer than they're used to, but I think an exciting U.S. Open site. I do have some, like you mentioned this earlier with Congressional, the tendency these days on these redesigns to take a lot of the trees out. They are countering that with growing the rough up or growing thicker rough, different strains of grass. What do you think about this removal of trees becoming a trend on, especially on like historic courses?
Um, I mean, it's fine. I don't know. I guess they're trying to figure out ways to protect their course, but I mean, I don't know. I feel like there's different ways to do it. I don't know if that's necessarily the way, but I mean, I can't hate on it. I if they wanted to, I feel like adding, I feel like taking away the trees kind of like hurts the protection in itself because once the ball gets above the tree level, what's going to happen then? And you'll never know because it's already exposed. I don't know. Like you can't make it. I don't know, bro. I guess I don't have the words for it, but like it's
Okay.
not like it's a full on links course because
Yeah.
clearly with
I
the
mean,
rough
yeah.
at the level that it is and it being a US Open course, it's not gonna happen that way. But I don't know. I don't know what they're trying to accomplish here. That's really like I don't have a defense or
I
like
think that
the
to me
wherewithal.
the downside is that all these courses start to look very similar to each other.
Yeah.
Um, like the fairways look immaculate. The like the congressional, the interesting was the transitions from the kind of like false fronts and greens looked very. There was very little to tell like where there was transitioning. That was an
Yeah.
interesting deal. From what I've seen from the U.S. Open footage so far, it looks very similar. I have the scorecard pulled up. So I think it probably played very close to this. So the men played their U.S. Open there in 2017 with Brooks Koepka winning that. Um, that from the back tees, it plays 7,700 yards, 7731 blues, which is something that we would probably maybe try to play. It's 7,100. Green, they have like some combo tees, but they have a solid black, blue, green, white, and then gold. So theoretically, we might play white. White drops down to, or sorry, green is 6,700, and then white is 6,200.
What
So
are the
I
hybrid
imagine
ones?
it's like green white. That's the first hybrid tee. So that's playing 6,400.
Oh, so not like a
So
blue green.
no, no, it's either yeah. So I
Well,
imagine
I
the
guess
ladies are probably gonna play some combo of either the green or the green and white because most of their yardages are around 63,
yeah.
6,400. But because it's a major, they might stretch it out and have them play the longer green tees. But it'll be interesting, and I think it's going to be great. The unfortunate part, and we've alluded to this the last couple of weeks, is the scheduling conflicts with the men. I mean, the Memorial is a big tournament. It's a you know elevated event.
Elevated event.
We're gonna have the men, the stars there. I think Scotty's gonna be there because he's already missed his. Rory's already missed his, so they're gonna be there, and it's going up against that. And I don't know, man.
They're
We're
playing it at
squeezing all the
68.
68. You look
Yeah.
it up.
Yeah.
That's gonna be a long one. That's gonna be a long one, especially if you're
Par
not hitting it straight.
72. Yeah. Par 72, 6,800, 35 yards. I mean, but that's why I was kind of saying, like, I think we probably would go out and venture and play the blue tees. I mean, when you have courses like this that, yeah, it says that number, but does it really play to that with the amount of rollout and stuff like that, or
Hmm.
the amount of elevation changes? So like you're hitting downhill to some most of these fairways and stuff like that. So your carry is longer. They've already baked out the fairways and stuff like that. They might be tighter, but when you hit a fairway, it's going to bounce hard. It's going to shoot forward, and so you're going to have you know 15, 20, 30 extra yards depending upon how you're coming into the fairway. So yes and no. So 6,800, that's probably playing closer to like 65 for them. The way that they
Yeah,
hit the ball, they don't play through the air a lot. They play a lot more of the ground game, a lot more um, carry with rollout. So it's
yeah.
fun to me.
And we've talked about how accurate they are off how the ladies are off the tee.
Yeah,
Um, I mean the top ones in the league are doing 70-80% fairways hit. So high level of precision from the ladies. Um, I don't anticipate it being a struggle for them, but it is that typical kind of Wisconsin setup with the wispy stuff right outside of the fairway. So even if they do lose it, off the tee box, I don't think we're dealing with crazy rough. I think they're
yeah,
relying more on kind of the wispy stuff to catch a club and kind of toss it wayward versus just unfindable Oakmont stuff that we're going to see here in a couple weeks.
yeah.
So different defenses. But yeah, that's all of our golf stuff, man. I mean, what else you got? Anything else random from golf that I may have missed?
Um, well, Matthias Schmidt, he's on the brink of anchoring. So
Yeah,
he got a long putter. He ain't doing that good. I don't
yeah,
typically try
very
to
very
I don't typically try to take sides with the gentleman that pointed it out, the video that I saw. I don't even want to give his name any kind of credence or anything like that, but saw a video from him
Okay.
and he was like,
Who? I'm
"Yeah,
curious now. Just name drop. Just name drop. I
Dan,
want to see. I want to go.
one of our least favorites, Dan Rappaport or whatever."
Oh God. Oh yeah. Okay.
Exactly.
Okay. I'll go check it out just to be annoyed. But I did notice it because there was one where he was
It's
taking a
close.
practice stroke, and no. It wasn't even close. I mean, you could tell like his shirt moved when he stood up to then go get in front of the ball, and I was like, that's anchored. Like that's
Damn.
it's too questionable. It was just way too questionable.
Yeah.
But it just begs the question of how bad are you how bad of a putter are you for you to anchor and you're still not able to get it done?
Right.
Um, it's kind of like a noticeable nod since we're talking about putters. I hadn't realized that Ricky Fowler has switched to lab, and I don't know how recent that is, but he had a lab putter in the bag this week, which I found super
Oh wow.
interesting. Especially been a while.
Man, yeah, that Odyssey Jailbird experiment didn't last long.
Oh yeah, I know he's been to a couple, but we haven't seen anybody win of note with a lab putter. So,
Right.
despite the hype, despite a lot of folks putting them in the bag, they're not necessarily winning tournaments, especially like the new design with that kind of circular back end. Now, I think Lucas Glover got hot with the lab putter, like their first iterations that we were seeing, but the most recent designs, I haven't been seeing those killing it. But
Yeah, I don't know, bro. If you're a bad putter, you're a bad putter. You getting this zero torque forgiveness stuff relies on you being disciplined enough to take the putter straight back and straight through and be able to read greens correctly and be able to gauge speed, which I don't think which I don't think a lot of these guys possess to have all three. Better to have like a guy, I don't know, bro, like get you a mallet putter and then get you some feels. Like the mallet putter is going to
right.
be forgiving enough. You don't have to hit it out of the middle, but it's going to help you as far as pace goes. Just learn how to read greens. I don't, bro. You are.
I would rather them bring in the caddies to like look over, like just flat out. If there's any putt of significance, like where it's not you just kind of
Yeah,
whacking it across the green, bring in your caddy. Get a caddy that you trust their eyes, point out a line, and just hit it to that spot. You know,
yeah,
I'd much rather these guys that struggle with the reading aspect of it, that look incredulous every time they miss a putt because they just read it completely different than how it broke. Just
yeah,
get a caddy that's good, that you can trust and believe in, and just live with that. I think it was, I want to say it was Ryan Palmer, his caddy a few years ago when Ryan Palmer was still balling out. So they would go to the Colonial, and his caddy was a member at Colonial, and the caddy would read like every putt out there and say, "This is the way it's going to break. Just hit it here."
yeah,
And Ryan had a really good run at Colonial based on that method, where he would just hit the ball, you know, onto the green, and then the caddy would take over from there. And it was a really successful strategy. So I don't know. I wish more guys would go there and just kind of admit, take away the ego, say I can't read a green to save my life, but let me figure out the stroke and the distance and go from there.
yeah,
That's just
yeah.
me, but
I mean, these pro level greens are notably more difficult to read than your, garden variety muni courses. But still, at the end of the day, I mean, put your time into what you struggle the most. You got all these guys are generational ball strikers. I don't think they really need to work on swinging the club a lot. If you feel like you can't read greens, go to the practice putting green or get there on Monday, play nines, and work and spend more time reading greens and reading slope. If that's the issue,
Mm.
I think there's ways to circumvent this. You play nine, so you don't going all out to play 18. Play the front nine, you play the back nine. Then Wednesday on the pro-am, you pay attention to what the breaks are doing, and you let your pro-am
Yeah.
partner do it or whatever. Or if you're not involved in a pro-am, play the front nine again. Get some regularity going, especially if it's your first or second year out on tour, or first or second year playing the course with these particular greens. I don't know, bro.
Yeah, and this was a redesign. So like, a couple of years ago, Colonial underwent a redo last year. We went out there and you could tell like some of the fairways were still growing in. The greens looked very fresh and were pretty hard.
Yeah,
So they're a year in, and yeah, the breaks may not be what they were previously. I think one or two greens got moved over. So yeah, I agree with getting out there and playing because a practice green can only do so much and can only simulate so much, and they tend to just be flatter, not give you as
yeah,
much undulation and variation on a practice green. So yeah, I'd much rather prefer people go out and get actual reps out on the course rather than relying on their practice green. But some of it does come down to technique as well, as you mentioned right off the top. So
yeah. I mean, but other than that, I don't know. I felt like this week had a pretty good field. I mean, Bud Colley somehow was in the mix. Tommy Fleetwood was in the mix. Scotty Scheffler had I would say one bad round, and it really cost him the tournament.
yeah,
His second round where where he went one over or whatever, and he was on the peak of not even making the cut. I think that might have been his only misstep.
Fowler.
Fowler was in there. Harry Hall in
I'm
there
looking at
again.
the. We didn't see much Gary Woodland on the coverage, but he
I didn't
was
see Bob either.
T11.
Andrew Nowak got
Oh,
some
I
early
saw
coverage.
very little Batia. Yeah, I mean the names were there.
Yeah,
And honestly, one of the reasons I decided not to go and pursue tickets was it was hot, and I mean it was 94 degrees yesterday. Um, and the interesting part is I was like, if I go, I'm taking a big umbrella. I didn't see
yeah,
one person. I don't know if they just restrict it, but I didn't see one person with an umbrella. And there are a lot of trees at Colonial for you to get some coverage with. But yeah, it's a brutal walk. It's a long course. It's spread out. Um, while on TV, it seems like a lot of the tee boxes are next to the greens. From a spectator standpoint, a lot of the crossovers are hard because there's creeks. So it's not an easy walk to just kind of
yeah,
trail right behind a group because you may have to go out of the way on a hole to keep up with them. So yeah, for that reason and the high temps, it was just a little bit of a spike in temperature. Because now I was in my head, I was like, okay, I know how hot it's going to be this weekend. Are we gonna have to stop having this tournament this late in the year? Or they got to figure out a way to move this one up? But it is a bit of a oddity this weekend that it was this hot because like it's gonna be. It was like 71 today. It's gonna be 77 in Dallas tomorrow.
yeah. It's gonna
So
be in the mid
just
80s
a
down here.
yeah, unusually hot this past weekend. But that's one of the reasons I didn't go out as a spectator, just because it was a little bit warmer than past years had been.
Yeah, Tom Kim, Hideki Matsuyama, Luke Liz,
Mm-hmm.
Jordan Spieth. I mean, Eric Van Rooyen now. Shoot, Webb Simpson was out here. Like the name, like,
Yeah,
bruh.
it wasn't a poo poo of a tournament at all. And
Mm-mm.
honestly, one of the aspects I was looking at is the prize pool being like 9 mil for this tournament. It's pretty
Yeah,
damn good. Um, for finishing T4, weekend at home, Scotty took home like $474,000. It's a pretty good weekend for not
Not
playing your best
bad.
golf and getting to sleep in your own bed. You know.
Hey man, I okay. I don't know why it slipped. I don't know why it slipped through our minds, but the week after Memorial, that filler week, it's the Canadian Open, so it's going to be a good week too.
I know. I know. I know Rory's not defending again, but he's been showing up in Canada the last handful
Yeah,
of
he been
years.
cooking. Different
Bob
courses, by
McIntyre
the
will be
way.
there every year, different course. But the fact that he might play it, play 3 weeks in a row with the Memorial, get the RBC Canadian Open in, and then head to the
Yeah,
U.S. Open just to keep the fields going. So
Memorial.
that'll be an interesting field.
Oh, he might not. He might not play the RBC, the Canadian, because the week after that is another elevated event. It's Travelers.
Oh, after the U.S. Open,
Yeah, that's the one that's in Connecticut, the TPC
Connecticut.
River Highlands.
Yeah,
Yeah, that
yeah.
what's his face?
Well,
Zurich
that's
shot a
you know that's
58 on.
that's yeah, that's why they've started putting those right after the majors so they don't have that complete fall off where coverage is. But I don't know. Like I said, I always watch the RBC Canadian Open just because it always tends to be a good tournament. I do
Yeah,
like seeing a different course up there every year. They tend to be pretty well conditioned. So yeah, I mean the golf is not stopping. That is for sure. We're gonna
yeah.
keep seeing some really good golf here.
The U.S., the Travelers, then the Rocket, then the John Deere, and the John Deere. Oh, okay, that's decent. So they're doing the John Deere, the complete 2 weeks completely in front of the Open now.
Hmm.
So the Scottish Open and the ISCO are the ones that are a shared field now. And the Scottish
Okay.
Open is going to be on CBS, and it's going to get the full coverage. It's going to be that mixed field event with the DP World Tour for sure, and then that next week will be the Open. So yeah, man, it ain't stopping. It ain't. Oh my God,
It's really not. And
we
that's the
have.
thing. Like people crap on the Rocket. I love watching that course, watching that event because it's kind of like an old school setup. It's
It's
not
all
a long
stars.
course. It's a shot maker's course. There's something to me every week, right? I know
Yeah,
a lot of people will shit on the John Deere, um, but
haters.
again, I don't know, man. If there's golf on, I'm gonna watch it. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
And
I mean, you can't even hate on the
yeah,
John Deere. Steve Stricker done won it 3 times in a row. That guy, like, literally carried that event on his back. But then you got
right.
events like the ISCO and the bro. We got to deal with the Barracuda the same week as the Open. That's what I was getting ready to say. Um, Freaking 300 FedEx points on the line. Woohoo,
That's
bro!
crazy.
Yo,
Just shut it
dude.
down. Just shut it down.
There's no way like you are that prideful, America, to where you gotta make sure you got some stateside because we going across to your mainland Europe or whatever. But again, 3M Open after the Open, then the Wyndham Championship, and then it's playoffs. That is
Yeah,
insane to me, bro.
the year's gonna keep moving. Um, Grant Horvat's supposed to be in that Barracuda, so
Yeah,
it might get a
yeah.
few extra eyes on it.
I don't know if he's been posting or not though. Has he been posting on
I don't know.
YouTube? Because the
I
last
don't
time we
follow him.
talked, right, me neither. The last time he spoke on it, he was playing. He had the Scotty Scheffler round, and he was still contemplating on if he was going to accept the sponsors exemption or whatever.
Which
And
Scotty told him, absolutely take it. Why wouldn't you?
right,
It's a
exactly.
chance of a lifetime. Yeah, I mean, yeah, he still posts. He posts pretty much every week. I think he has to at this point to keep the machine going. So his most recent video, him and the Bryan Bros do a lot of crap together now. So his
Yeah,
most recent video is "Can I compete on the PGA Tour?" And it's him and from the video preview is Wesley Bryan, which, since he's under suspension now, I'm sure Wesley's definitely plunging himself into their content since he's not able to play professionally right now.
I know he getting a lot of golf in. Okay,
Yeah.
Okay, okay, fall schedule. Well, first of all,
it's up.
First playoff event is St. Jude. That's the TPC Southwind. That's the one that Zalatoris has won, and then Hideki Matsuyama is the coming back winner.
Champ.
Yeah, the defending champ. BMW Championship, August 14th through 17th. New course alert.
Where are they playing it?
Caves Valley Golf Club. It's in Maryland. Owings Mills, Maryland.
Yeah, they've been mixing that one up. Do you remember when it used to pretty much be TPC? It was last year. It was in Colorado, which was dope. But years before that, they had pretty much sustained it at TPC Boston.
And ran it Friday through Monday for Labor Day or whatever. But now they done pushed it all up. Labor Day is later on in the season. When is Labor Day this year?
September. First week. Usually first week in September.
2025. Monday, September 1st. So, yeah, they are full 2 weeks in front of it now. Yeah, man, they're on bad. I like the TP. I really had gotten used to it, and I was enjoying the TPC Boston and getting golf on. Now, don't get me wrong. It was trippy to have the third round on a Sunday, and then you just be, like, hanging out or at work on Monday watching, like, real golf. But, like,
these holidays throw me the heck off.
Yeah, it was tricky stuff.
Let's talk a little bit of NBA and then hop off so we can catch the end of this OKC Minnesota game. What have you thought about the NBA playoffs so far?
The conference finals have been good.
The Western,
OKC did what they were supposed to do at home. Minnesota did what they were supposed to do at home the first game. Now, I don't know. You losing about 40 is kind of concerning to me. It's OKC though, so I don't know. They're young. They're oblivious to like what that would really do to the mental. So they probably gonna bounce right back. But like if this was a vet team, right. If this was a vet team and they lost by 40, I don't know. They might have called it quits, Bubba. I'm just saying. After that, but I don't know. Indiana's scary to me. But I don't think either squad has anything for the West coming out, if I'm being honest.
I think Indiana. I don't know. I kind of disagree with that. I've been made a believer from Indiana's perspective. They feel really like watching them. They're deep. They're resilient, and they have a lot of guys that just keep coming, and they're kind of skilled and versatile.
Right.
To me, like Miles Turner has been like this afterthought for the longest time. And then it's like now that they're actually been able to get some shine, realizing how good he is. And he's just kind of been, unfortunately, on a not so well performing Indiana team. But I don't know, man. I think they can challenge either from the West. I don't know. That's just my perspective. The Knicks, I don't think have a shot at all. Like I think the game 3 was an anomaly. But yeah.
I mean, I don't know, bro. I feel like defensively though, Minnesota and OKC both got dogs. Like that, I think that's really what's gonna muck it up. It just isn't gonna be as clean basketball, as pure a basketball form with Indiana versus either of the West teams. Lou Dort, linebacker ass, gonna come in. He gonna muck shit up. Jaden Daniels and his headband, he gonna thug it out. I mean, he a YN at heart. He might be pushing, he's still 24, 25. So he definitely a YN. I think, and then ultimately, both West Coast teams' best player is better than the East Coast's team, their best player.
That's true.
I'm not taking.
That's true.
You know what I'm saying? I'm not taking.
Yeah, there's no.
Tyrese
Halliburton's no true. yeah, Halliburton's not a true star stud. Like that's gonna get you 30. I
Right.
don't think he can wake up one day and say I'm getting 30 and go get 30. It
At all.
happens within the flow of the game, but that's not what he is as a player. So I agree. I'm kind of like Minnesota feels like they're one player away from where they need to be. Like I don't like their team is solid, but I'm trying to figure out what they're missing, and I it's just something. But the fact
Julius
that
Randle.
in the first, that's true. Like a better option than Julius because he shot some shots in the first half today
He's
that
still
I was
doing this
watching and I'm
bully
like, dude,
ball. Bro. There are way too many trainers out here. There's there's like 3 local pro trainers in Dallas where he grew up. If you want to, and then he can still go to Chris Brickley. Bro, there's way too many trainers that you can go to in the off season and actually get the skill. Like, and that's the thing. He's a 3
well,
level scorer, but he
he's
just
too late in
goes,
his career.
bro. I think I don't know, bro. He might still just be like 30. Because he came out after 1 year in college. He wanted them. Um, hold up. Julius Randle. How old is he?
94. So he's 30 years or 31.
Yeah, so he still has time to develop. But yeah, I just think he needs to.
No, hell no, hell no. Develop at this point, he is who he is, man. I get it. You can add some skills, but if he hasn't at this point decided do you think he has grown in the last 5 years as a player?
No,
No. So if he hadn't showed any effort to do so up to this point, what's going to change him, right? He's gotten paid a couple times. Julius Randle is completely content being Julius Randle. He doesn't
yeah,
seem like the type that gives a damn about winning a title.
he got his money. Ain't nobody go like. And I think it's funny to me too because he's playing with Ant, who's a dominant guard, a 2-way guard. But you don't hear Julius Randle talking about like he remind me of Kobe. He remind me of this. He remind me of that. And I'm not saying that to slight Ant because Ant is a different beast. I mean, bro is legit
Mm,
the real deal.
yeah, but
But
he's got to get. I think he's a couple years away from a maturity standpoint.
right,
So like today's game, he only shot the ball twice in the first half in 20 minutes
I saw
played.
that. Yeah, I saw
That's
that.
unacceptable.
I mean, I feel like he was trying to prove a point. I don't feel like he wasn't necessarily saying like, yo, like I can do it in multiple ways, but he was saying I don't have to score for us to win. And it's like,
Yeah.
actually, sir, you do.
No,
Like
the fact that
your
they're down
star,
five with they're about to lose this game. They're down five with 35 seconds to go. He needs to score. And I hadn't caught up on, we've been doing the show, so I don't know where the stats are at this point, but they need him to be touching 30 or getting close to that to have a chance. So,
and
they're about to
Edwards
go down 3-1.
he has 15 shots on 13 attempts.
15 points.
Defense, yeah, 15 points on 13 attempts. Nikhil Alexander Walker has 23. DiVincenzo has 21, and Jalen McDaniels has 22. Rudy Gobert is the only other. Rudy Gobert has 11. They have 3 starters in double figures. Michael Conley has 6 points. Julius Randle has 5 points.
Yeah. Edwards has to be pushing 30 every game. Like, I'm sorry. And putting up 30 shots. I mean, he's a volume scorer. So,
I think
anyway.
they need so they gonna move past Mike Conley, bro. They gonna move past Mike Conley. They gonna put DiVincenzo in the starting lineup and give him some more help. I don't know. They could even put Nikhil Alexander Walker in there and really kick up the defense if we being honest. I don't know. They're a piece away, like you said, but I still think they're a leg above either of the West Coast teams.
Agreed. East Coast.
Yeah.
All right, bro. We'll pick it up next week. The ladies U.S. Open is going to be pretty good. I'm excited about it. I'm excited about the course. I'm excited about watching all the, again, kind of behind the scenes coverage because the LPGA is killing it right now. Just kind of having more insight into it. Again, it's Monday and they're already heavy on the Instagram path. So go check them out. Again, happy birthday tomorrow to our boy Andy Holt. Bearded Bros Golf Show. I am Rod.
And I'm Marcus.
We'll catch y'all next week. Peace.